Does the gentlelady reserve her time? Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Kansas, Mr. Huelskamp.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 7, the No Taxpayer Funding of Abortion Act. It is a good bill, an important bill that takes critical steps to protect the lives of the innocent unborn and the conscience rights of millions of Americans. Before discussing the bill, I think it's important to recall some important history that was discussed previously. On Saturday, March 20th, 2010, the President of the United States announced a so-called agreement on his Affordable Care Act, and in part because of this agreement, supposedly protecting Americans' conscience rights, Obamacare narrowly passed and was signed into law. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, the agreement, the so-called two-pack agreement, was a charade. It did not protect our conscience rights. It did not stop the federal funding of abortion. In fact, it did the very opposite. Hidden behind a veil of secrecy and accounting gimmicks, and because of this charade, we are here today. H.R. 7 is very simple. It does exactly what the administration hoped we would believe they were doing in this two-pack agreement, and it answers the fundamental question: how do we protect the moral beliefs of a majority of Americans on the wrenching issue of taking the lives of the innocent unborn? The answer is clear. We should not force people to pay for what they do not believe in. We should stop federal bureaucrats from using Americans' hard-earned tax dollars to pay for abortion, and we should allow Americans to exercise their God-given right of conscience. The American people are opposed to using taxpayer dollars to pay for the taking of innocent human life. We know this from the thousands of constituents who contact each of our offices. We know this from the hundreds and thousands of Americans who descended upon this Capitol and state capitals across the nation in March for Lives just last week. And we know this from the 90-plus lawsuits that have been filed by organizations on religious liberty grounds like Little Sisters of the Poor, Wheaton College, Hobby Lobby, Conestoga Wood. The list goes on, and we know this in our hearts. It's simply wrong.
Time has expired.
To force people to pay for abortion, something that violates their consciences.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Religious liberties, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlelady reserved.